This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hi, I'm Jason, and this is my Skithiryx deck. Alrighty, Skithiryx. I chose him because I wanted to do an Infect deck. And I know Infect's not the coolest thing to play in EDH, but it's actually more of a challenge to play Infect, just because you have to, especially, usually EDH is a multiplayer format, so it's a little bit harder. So it's kind of a fun challenge to play Infect, because a lot of people hate on you because you can kill them easier, but then also because you have to infect everybody to kill them. Yeah, there are a few creatures in here that I could kill with normal damage, but the strategy is Infect. So he's a flying infector for 5, 4/4. He can gain haste if you have a extra black, and then he also regenerates for 2. There are 33 swamps in the deck. Alrighty, non-basics. Inkmoth Nexus, just to help with the Infect. Really good manland, because I run some board wipes in here, so it's good to have a creature afterwards. Bojuka Bog, because you gotta hate on graveyards. Urborg and Cabal Coffers combo, because just having lots and lots of swamps is really good, especially with the way that I run this Infect deck. Sometimes I need a lot of swamps. Shizo, just to give if they do have a flying blocker, that just give it a fear to get that last hit in or whatnot. Alright, now we get into sorceries and things like that. These are my wraths. Decree of Pain, because drawing cards is super good. I really, really like the cycling though on this too. I know you only draw one card, but the instant speed Infest is really good, especially against token decks. Right before they try to activate, their Beastmaster's Ascension. All is dust, because of the way that I run this. It keeps most of my permanents in play. It's just really good. Sometimes people have indestructible things. This gets around that. Damnation, just a generic, Black Wrath. Life's Finale, really good. You don't always have to do the second ability. If you don't want, you can fail to find. But sometimes if there's a combo player and there's not much recursion in the deck, you can Buried Alive them, get their combo out of their deck. Really good. Syphon Mind I like, because it's a, like I said, multiplayer format, so you're oftentimes drawing a lot of cards off of this. Profane Command, to give my infectors fear. Kill a problem creature, return something from a graveyard. Really good. Diabolic Tutor and Beseech the Queen. I like this card only in mono black, because usually I have a lot of lands, so it's really good. I actually have a Demonic Tutor. I don't know why I don't just switch it out. Probably will do that actually. Contagion Clasp. Really good to proliferate with. I don't like this one as much as the engine, only because it's the same mana, to activate the ability, but the engine proliferates twice. But I've definitely killed players off of either of these, so they come in handy. They're actually hated on quite a bit. Akroma's Memorial, just an amazing card to give your infectors basically everything Akroma has. Really good. Cage Sun, mana ramp. and give my infectors +1/+1. Thran Dynamo, Gilded Lotus, just to help speed the game up. Phyrexian Arena to draw more cards, and this is only enchantment in the deck, but this is help separating my artifacts, because the way that I run this Skithiryx deck is equipment, just to help to get the infectors in there, and the swords really do activate and give you really good abilities. So we have I feel a really strong equipment package. Feast and Famine, Sword of Fire and Ice, Nightmare Lash, because you're playing mono black, so you're going to equip a creature and it's going to be really, really big. Sword of Light and Shadow to get creatures back and gain you life. This card, the Binding Blade, I haven't played this deck actually since I've put this in here. I'm really excited to play it. The 7 cost is kind of pricey, but usually, given the right artifacts or the right lands, it's usually, and some of the creatures in here actually help ramp too, so it shouldn't be that hard. And then for those of you who don't know it, once you deal damage to a player, it turns into this guy, 13/13 flying, intimidate, trample. Whenever a player loses the game, he gets 13 counters on him. I like that part a lot, only because infect is a lot easier to do. Well, I mean, versus 40 life, so you can bring him down, 10 infect, dead player, 10 infect, dead player, and he could get really gross. So I'm looking forward to really trying this guy out. Champion's Helm, really good to give Skithiryx, hexproof. Lightning Greaves, just, in case you need to drop Skithiryx, 5th turn, and you don't want to have to pay the 1 to give him haste. Mimic Vat to drop, certain infectors come in and give everyone infect counters. It's cool to put them on there, or, Solemn or any beefy creature that dies to a wrath, put it on here to help you. Nim Deathmantle, I really, really like this equipment. The ability is kind of expensive, but to be able to recur your creatures over and over is really good, especially if you have the mana. Grafted Exoskeleton to give my utility creatures Infect to swing in for kill shots and things. Strata Scythe, this card's really good because, especially with Urborg out, it makes everyone else's lands swamps, and it gives a creature +1/+1 for the imprinted card. So if you imprint a swamp, everyone's controlling swamps, and your creature becomes, if you don't block this creature and it has Infect, you're dying pretty much. Lashwraith, really good because it's a living weapon. Also, gives one of your infectors +1/+1 for each swamp. Another really good one. Grafted Wargear, I love this one. Not so much for the unequip, because you have to sack the creature, but for the 0 equip, makes a 1/1 infector into a 4 infect, putting them closer to death. So I really like that one. Swiftfoot Boots, just more haste, more protection. Sword of War and Peace. Sword of Body and Mind. That's it for the equipment cards. All right, here are the support creatures. Shield Dread, just to somewhat help the board or control the board. People sacrificing their creatures, you can get your infectors back. Bloodgift Demon, draw cards. Magus of the Coffers, which is Cabal Coffers on a stick, just help you ramp. Kozilek, help you draw, reshuffle cards. Really good. I love Eldrazi, so if I can, and if it's a high mana curve deck or can produce a lot of mana, I tend to put at least one of these in here to reshuffle the library. Rune-Scarred Demon, the Tutor, really good with Mimic Vat. Just constantly tutor. Grave Titan to put in 2/2 blockers and put equipments on them and stuff, swinging for extra damage. Artisan, 2-for-1, get your creature back. If it's an effector or something else, it's really good. Phyrexian Obliterator. This guy's just nasty, especially when you put Grafted Exoskeleton on him or any other equipment. I mean, people, especially 4th turn, do not like this guy to hit the battlefield, because 4th turn, I mean, they're taking 5 damage, which isn't bad, and you know, eventually they're going to have to block it. So he's really good. Solemn, just ramp and draw. Arcana Revenant, just a lot of mana. Also, she can pump, so if she has equipment on her and stuff, you can swing in for a lot of damage. Alright, now we get into the Infectors. We got Reaper of Sheoldred. I like this one a lot because it's got, like, it's multi-purpose. It's not only an Infector, but whenever it takes damage, you get to, the source of the damage takes an Infect counter, so it's a really good chump blocker. Plague Stinger, just flying Infect. A lot of these creatures don't look that menacing just off the bat, but that's why I chose the equipment route, because a lot of the bigger Infectors aren't in just mono black. They're in green and stuff like that, so that's why I chose the equipment route. Septic Rats, good when someone that you're swinging already has an Infect counter on him. They get +1/+1. Hand of the Praetors gives all your other Infectors +1/+1, and whenever you cast an Infector, target player gets a poison counter. Really good. Try to hold on, if this is in my hand, to try to hold on to casting my cheaper Infectors until after he's out. Whispering Spectre. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, they discard for however many poison counters they have. I've never really done that part of it, just because a flying Infector is super valuable. But you know, if you're playing, if you feel that someone's hand's getting just, you know, too big for your liking, and they have a decent amount of Infect counters, you know, help get rid of that. Tainted Strike, the unexpected, you know, Infect damage. Usually, as you saw, my support creatures are not super small, so you know, you can get a Infect kill off of one of them using this. Really good. Flesh Eater Imp, in case you need to get in for that last swing, just sack some creatures, give them +1/+1 till end of turn. Flying kill shot, hopefully. Corpse Cur, whenever it enters the battlefield, you may turn a creature card from your graveyard to your hand that has Infect. Just a little Infect recursion. Phyrexian Juggernaut, this guy's just a beater. I mean, it's halfway to death if this thing hits somebody. So equip it with a sword and another equipment, and it could be a death. So he's really good. Constantly attacking, really annoying creature. People have to deal with this really quickly. Phyrexian Digester, just another Infector. Plague Mirror, a little bit of mana ramp plus an Infect. Phyrexian Crusader, really good against red and white, even though, at least in my play group, those aren't heavily played colors. Red's probably the least, and then followed by white. But the first strike's really good, just to put, you know, minus counters on problem creatures and things like that. This guy's good because you get Infect and Lifelink, so equip him with a sword or, you know, Lash Wraith or something like that, you can gain a lot of life. Phyrexian Vat Mother, she's interesting. She's good because she's cheap for a lot of, like, you know, 4 Infect, that's pretty good, but you also need to be careful because she puts, at the beginning of your upkeep, you get a poison counter, so she's kind of like a end of the game, you know, beat stick, I guess you could say. But you gotta watch out for this card. Hopefully you have a way to get rid of it. Necropede, really good, comes into play, or when it gets put into graveyard, excuse me, you can put a -1 and -1 counter on a target creature, and if you have your proliferating engines out, you know, you can get rid of a problem creature. Core Prowler, whenever he's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, proliferates, so if people are high enough, they're not going to want this to die, so, you know, they're kind of torn. Take 2 Infect or, you know, proliferate, whatnot. It's a really good card. Ichor Clawmere, Whenever he becomes blocked, he gets 2/2, so you get a 3/3 blocker infector. Really good. Here's kind of the guy I was talking about, putting on Mimic Vat. Icarats, just when he comes into play, everyone gets a poison counter. And if you're ahead of everybody else, then you can kill him pretty easily with this. Contagious Nim, just a 2/2 infector. And the man of the hour, of course, no Infect deck is complete without Blightsteel Colossus. This is one reason I run a lot of the ramp in this deck, just because he really needs it. Obviously, he hits. You need 12 mana for him to hit, but this is a kill shot if you can't block this, and he's pretty tough to deal with, especially once if you can get a Lightning Greaves on him. It's just 11 Infect. You better have a lot of blockers, or he's gonna bash his way to death. Thank you for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.